Good morning from the Yarn Closet in Tucson, Arizona. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and the dogs have already interrupted us once. I was so excited to see that we had a bunch of players on the game that I decided to do the Vlogmas today, day 3. Are we on day 3 already? We're on day 3. Yeah, we are. Because the game was day 2. It's totally day 3. But somebody nailed it. Somebody got all of them. Nailed it. LuEllen, you are amazing. So send me your address and email. Or we might already have it. Did you win something like way back in the beginning? Like a year and a half ago? Oh Lord, 6 o'clock, my coffee's already cold. I'm working on adjusting your sweater so it fits you better, Skinny Minnie. Magnus, leave her alone. Go lay down. So anyway, let's see if I can't. Oh, I think I somehow deleted a picture. Oh yeah, it was the slipper sock picture, but we all knew the answer to that one. So let's go through these. Number 1. We all remember my lovely green sweater that grew quite a bit with blocking, made with that Lion brand green Marley Bird Merino that was superwash, and yeah, it was a dark fire up from Mrs. Babb. You need to stop. Magnus, lay down. Be quiet and lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Magnus, lay down. Okay, the motivation for that one was this, which I made for my mom, and, well, I made it for me when I had bigger boobs, and then when I had lesser boobs, it didn't hang quite right, so, or stay where it was supposed to, because it didn't have those anchors, so I gave it to my mom, and that'll give her a chuckle. Okay, this is another easy one. What was my motivation in this hat? Guess what? The only other hat on the list. So mine had 2x2 rib and just straight stockinette in the top with a basic crown decrease. But the bank head is quite a fun. And the sock head. This one's by Susie Gourlay. Okay, so then what was the motivation when I made this cowl? And the pattern is a free download over on the Patreon. It was this free cowl from Knitterings, all one word, KNITTERINGS.co.uk. That's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it was a basket weave cowl pattern. I have some yarn I might just try this exact pattern with. You know, one of the funny things, the honeycomb, honeybee cowl has a 4-row repeat to get that pattern. Somehow that freaks me out. Just freaks me out. Like, I think I'm going to get lost in which row I'm in. I don't always read my work as well as I could, since much of it's by feel. So those are some things I'm thinking about for next year. Plus, I get interrupted so often. What was the motivation for this cowl? Remember this cowl? When that ridiculous knit front back, knit front slip back I was trying to do to make my little sweater. Well, first of all, it looks doll size, so I think I got the sizing completely off anyway. So I was so frustrated by that, I had to do something else, and this knit up so fast in a couple of days. It was very long, very thin. I wear it. I've worn it the last couple days. And this was the motivation. UU Cold Front Cowl. It is a free download on Ravelry. And I will probably not actually make this in the way that it's written. The reason that I made it the way that I did, I knew the edges were going to curl. I wanted to see what that was like. Like, do you only need to knit three or four rows of straight stockinette? Do you need to knit a lot more? What's the curl like? But I also wanted to do the thing where you get reverse stockinette by actually turning around your work and working from the inside. Kind of like if you were going to do a garter stitch hat, but you do the no purling garter stitch method. Amy Beth of Fat Squirrel talks about it, and there's a Knitting Pipeline Lady tutorial. I will tell you what happened with me in my sections is there was always a blip. I'm not good at the wrap and turn. I think that I have to do the Isabella Kramer trick with the wrap and turns where you lay a contrasting piece of yarn in so you know exactly what to add in for that next bit so that it covers the hole. Remember this chunky Lady Squirrelingtons and Dirty Pink, I think it was, from Amy over at Stranded Dye Works. I want to be 29 years old and just buy a house in Scotland. That's what I want to do. And from the little bits we've seen on her Vlogmas, it's adorable. And I now want to paint my entire house bright white on the inside. Yeah. The problem with bright white here in Tucson is it is so dusty here, and dust doesn't just sit on the top of your dresser, it sits on the front, and it sits on every surface. So you notice the bits so much faster, and in these kind of brick walls, you will actually get like rows of dust, especially on the top. You have to actually wipe down your walls every few months. It is so annoying. And your cabinets in your kitchen, and just everything gets this layer of dust, and it's just drives me batty. It's a good thing I can't see it, but I can feel it. So anyway, what was the motivation of making this DK held double sweater? Dun dun dun, Loopy Mango, that sweater. You say, Laura, how did you get from one to the other? Okay, the reason mine doesn't have long sleeves is I didn't have enough yarn. And the bizarre thing is, when I looked in the internets to research, because we all know if you hold fingering double, you get a worsted gauge. Not necessarily a worsted weight, because it doesn't seem as heavy to me, but you get a worsted gauge. So I found somewhere that said if you held DK double, you would get a bulky gauge. I did not. Oddly enough, the gauge on this sweater is 4 stitches per inch. The gauge on my sweater was 3 stitches per inch. That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. I know I'm not reading my gauge off that much. But if I look at that sweater and the stitch counts and my sweater and the stitch counts, it does kind of make sense in how it worked out. I don't understand. I don't understand. But I think mine was also knit at a tighter gauge. And certainly their needle size of a 15 centimeter versus, or a 15 millimeter versus an 8 millimeter would speak to that. Okay, honey, that's fine. If you want to grab something else, go ahead. So LuEllen, and if you want to let Magnus out, just turn the light on outside for him, please. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
I don't want to, so I'm not doing it.
See, that's fine.
And you don't need to tell me to do that.
LuEllen Ivy, you get a really fancy Ziploc bag. The reason I put them in Ziploc bags, unless they're in like a project bag, is just to help protect them in transit. You never know, because I think a lot of times they end up in envelopes. But if the envelope gets ripped or something, you don't want, if I send yarn, especially for it to get snagged. I wasn't thinking I'd give out a prize, but somebody nailed it. She got all of them. LuEllen, you got all of them. You either watch all of my podcasts, so you knew, or you're just super smarty pants. So here is the nice knit cowl pattern that is a free download over on the Patreon page. There are knitting, crochet, and loom knitting patterns. There's almost a dozen already, and that will increase a lot in 2020. So my front page, I'm going to try to be more consistent in my pattern writing. My front page is always going to be pictures, a little bit of information on the pattern, and some motivation. Starting out with notes, my email address, so if you have questions, there's notes on the pattern, there's a material list. This one started with the ribbed border, then the basket weave pattern. Oh, that's not the right page. Oops, wrong page. I'll get the right last page, but I'm sending her the...
Can I see the last page?
Yes, you can have this last page, and you can write some notes on it if you'd like. Okay, so I'll get you the last page. I will send you this free pattern. Thank you. Yeah, they don't need to see that.
That's the last page, Mom.
Of a different pattern. I messed up because I'm blind and I do that a lot.
The accident got it.
Okay, then you get the thank you card, a little yarn closet coaster.
And Grandma has one of those.
Grandma does have one of those. The Growly Bear chapstick, because who doesn't need that in winter? Some short DPNs, because I find these are fabulous when doing the decreases on the hats. And then some sport Lorna laces in a lovely red, and it's so squishy.
Can I show them?
Yes, you can show them that.
This is from my brother. He made it.
He made it when he was in first grade.
When he was in I was going to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When he was in first grade, he made this, and he made two suns and a little boat, and it was dripping a little bit. It was like making a line a little bit, but it was okay.
Okay, go.
And he made a flower.
Yes.
And it added to his picture.
Yes, it did.
And
okay, go now, please. Go now, please. 3.
I'm just hugging you.
I know, but when I ask you to go, I don't want the hugging distractions. And then you get the little heart with the clips, because the clips are always wonderful. And the Braille stitch marker, tan, because you might want to use tan like I did. And then, these are very hard to find, but I found, and if people really love it and I hear commentary, then I will do my best to find these. However, pull it out. Pull it out.
I did.
3,
I did
2,
it. I did.
no, do it again. Pull back. Take 3 steps back. Pull the chair with. There, now sit down. Don't even. Don't even. Braille number tags.
Can I see?
Because, you know, we all like need to count a certain number of stitches or rows. I use them for row counting. They're hard to find, so whenever I come across them, if you like them, I'll snag them up. And if you want to order sets, just email me. But they'll cost more because these cost quite a bit more than the colors.
I had a first idea trying to draw one of these, and I need one of these.
No, you don't. Give it to
look
me,
at
please.
it
This is
and draw.
this is a present for someone. 3. Thank you. So there you go, LuEllen Ivy. You were the winner. You got all of them correct. I'm so impressed. And that is my really long day 3. Oh my gosh, I need to take a shower. Look with your heart first. We'll see you tomorrow.